Welcome to a very special online edition of the Mayor's Lunch for Arts Champions. Here's your host, Dave Kelly.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Dave Kelly, as you heard. I don't want you knowing that that's my brother Rob who just said that voice, but it was. This is the Mayor's Lunch for Arts Champions. So it's a champion lunch that we get to have. And we're hoping you're enjoying a delicious lunch while you're here, because I am working incredibly hard. I won't be able to eat, but we'll get some great moments we get to share together. Before, though, I wanted to say something important, and that is that our country has been reminded that racism has horrifying consequences. To recognize the murder of the Afzaal family, the discovery of the 215 Indigenous children buried in unmarked graves, and for the friends and families who carry the pain of those who died, I'd like to start with a brief moment of silence. We are going to hear from the Many Bears family in just a bit with a bit more, but that's coming up. This year has been so different for all of us, hasn't it? I mean, that's not like I'm telling anybody anything new, but it has been so different. And for artists, it's been incredible. And part of it is trying to remain safe the entire time when you're still trying to create art. So they always believe that safety first is the truth. Let's take a look at how they looked. Yes, we want to be safe and we want to create art. And to help us do that, I have a very special guest beside me right now, the CEO of Calgary Arts Development, Patty Pon. Hi, Patty.
Hello, Dave. Nice to see you in this way.
It's, we can see, however we'll do it, won't we?
Exactly.
Now, you and I have a lot to talk about. Before we get to that, I thought maybe you could be the one who do our land acknowledgement for us. Would you do that?
Thank you. It'd be my pleasure. I want to acknowledge that we are on the land known in Blackfoot as Mohkinstsis. It is the ancestral territory and home of the Siksika Itsitapi, the Blackfoot people, comprising the Siksika, Kainai, and Piikani First Nations, as well as the Treaty 7 signatories, the Tsuut'ina Nation, and the Eeyakse Nakota Bears Paw, Chiniki, and Wesley First Nations. This land is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. And as I always say, you make the land acknowledgement because it has a personal meaning to you. It brings meaning in some way. And in light of the comments that Dave shared with us earlier about the 215 children found in Kamloops, this is a time when we talk about taking care of the land, it also means taking care of the people who have taken care of this land for time immemorial. We will never be a nation together of one until we do that. So many thanks and a great pleasure for having all of you join us today. Thanks, Dave.
And you also, to help set that stage, beautifully said, by the way, Patty, to help set that stage, you brought some great friends to do that for us now.
I did. It is my great honor and pleasure to introduce Elder Raymond Manybears and Elder Greta Manybears from the blood tribe of the Kainai Nation Treaty 7, who are also joined by their nephew, Troy. Welcome.
Okay. Kitkenaatse matsem pawa. Nistuan no ko ka ki kai tsa pa mahka. O kent kitatse ina koksitip sak pa motsi utotois tsi o ken ka kaks sapia. O kina is tina wa kik mi mohkins tsa. Kitkenaatse matsem pawa ki kan tsis tiko. Greetings everybody, mayor, dignitaries and artists. Welcome today. It's kind of a different way of meeting now, of a gathering. It's kind of a little bit of a new way of gathering, I guess. I want to introduce my wife to my right, which is, she's always right anyway. My wife is Greta Manybears, and my son, nephew, Troy Delaney. I'd like to congratulate to the other ones that the recipients that are going to receive some rewards today. I'm still looking for my award, but I'm still waiting for that award and whatever. All I do is receive chicken feathers, not even an eagle. Yeah. Anyway, so greetings everybody, but as Patty mentioned, yes, it's been a dark day for a lot of us. I myself is a residential school survivor, so I can relate to all across Canada that entered into these residential schools. Especially hearing the news of these mass graves, we've always known. It's no secret to us about these children that went missing, and there's burials. I know there's a lot of burials out there that haven't been discovered yet. These are the dark days for a lot of us, but also we can celebrate that finally these our children will come to at peace, will come to finally to a resting place where they can move on and pray for them that they're on their way to so I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to first of all I'm going to say a prayer and all of you say a prayer in your own mind. Hearts inside of you, and think that children, especially those ones that, like Dave mentioned, about racism and about these Indians that were run over, and it's happening, you know. So I'm going to say a prayer in my native tongue, and after when I'm finished praying in my native tongue, Dave will interpret it for me. Ay o na pinatos. Ay kakinuks pumo kinanan tistikoa. O kikikimana pianitsewaki. Titkach sinnanit sa kinikaki nuko sinnanit. Anikakis tipata pio pa. Anitsnitski to tistini matsatsaki. Anido utsitsin piawa kistipata pio pa. O knokatsis pa kinistunna nokatsi. Nokatsin notspinna niski testini matskos. O kistipata pio paki. Aka sumokama tapaniskum kinach sinnanitsaki. Ego kohkaka tapitsini katumia. Ego kohkatsini katumia unikaki manistapis. Anikaksio kumot spinna taksteka kuteput spinnanan mistapa. O kispumus nitsio akamutsio aknapi kwatsa. kāts noch kiitsi tapiuaki, sitten keitsi tapiuaki. Sitten päätapio paakennikaa kiiteiko kohkita pohsis kotumunna. Annikaa kiika nääsukaatti. Annikaa kiitätääkö isksupukiika tuupinnaa, nikaa kissukuussit saa kiitski näitsäksupukiika tuumia annikaa kummaapua. Saa kohkaamatasti annikni tamatuusaksina. Maatkutsiin tuumia annikaa kiinnekin kannakaa kiinni. Natojaatiika nokaakakkinaatiika. Maatokkutsiin iskikaatsta muukinnaa nääkisaakiamatasti. Ookispamuusannits puukeat saakista päätäpiukaa. Annikaa kohtaa kaapetkipähkäuaaki. Tästä päätäpiukaaki. Ookinnikaa kaksuhkutsahtamai. Majan miittakin annikaa kiinniin. Mä en tohki annikiitsitä piikunaaki. Samkanaa johtasen juutspinnaa. Niitsuskannitskis kuin uatsaaki puukeatsaaki. Ookiaakista päätäpiukaaki. Eikä kohtaa pohtiska tuupinnaa nääki. Oxseek pojinna tuupinnaa nääkenni kaatsemuiskai. Ookiaakista päätäpiukaaki kääkis pummuus muutsen kääkääksä piitsaan. Ookiakki tuutka nääpspinnaa. Annikaaki nää piiusni. Meistä vatsemaan kamutaan. Okay, I want you to take your right hand and bring it across your heart. You're taking the prayer example. Hey.
Hey.
Okay, so I'm going to have my wife introduce the song.
Hello. The song that we're going to sing was composed by my father, the late Dan Wiesemakeson, and also my dad started up the drum group Old Agency Singers. And I am from the second generation of Old Agency Singers, and my great nephew here is from the third generation. Okay, hun.
Okay. Okay, back to you, Dave.
I got to do a breakfast show with those guys.
Yes.
That was great. And we thank you very much, Elder Raymond Many Bears, Elder Greta Many Bears, and of course, Troy, the great nephew. Isn't that great, Patty?
That's just fantastic.
So good. So we want to get to the awards, I know, but just quickly, give us a sense. How has the past year been for arts in Calgary?
Well, as many of you know who are with us today, the arts were one of the very first sectors most severely hit, and it will be one of the last sectors to really recover. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, we've seen arts organizations and artists adapt and find ways to share the arts within their communities. We saw 93% of the organizations that we work with through our granting programs pivot which is a word everyone's probably getting real sick of hearing, to online content, a real focus on youth programming in particular. And we saw amazing organizations like WordFest who innovated and now have their own subscription channel, Imagine On Air, where you can go back and visit some of their content. So we have our very own Calgary-made Netflix.
Isn't that great?
Amazing. And you're going to see a handful of more examples like that today.
We get to show some. And here's a term I know you've used before about art and artists, and that is, this is a time to lean on the arts. What do you mean by that?
Well, again, we all saw that right at the beginning of the pandemic, right? Everybody who picked up their guitar that they hadn't picked up for 20 years, or a paintbrush, or they restarted that book club that had been on pause for a long time. So if you think about it, and even if you were someone binging on the streaming services, those things don't happen without artists, without our storytellers, the people who create meaning. And even now, if we use some of the more popular channels of media, and I'm sure playwrights are madly creating scripts that are reflecting this time that we're finding ourselves in, the emotions, the mental kind of burden that we're all taking as we cope through this time and look to see that light at the end of the tunnel. We hear those stories from artists. This time will be remembered by artists. And I think it's a really important kind of context that will take us through.
I want to look ahead with you, but is it okay if we save that for when I have you and the mayor towards the end of the show?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I wanted to also recognize sponsors, and the sponsors for this show we're so grateful because this is kind of unique for them as well. A lot of them didn't normally in a normal luncheon, they would get to be there and meet people. And we said, hey, would you come back and do this online? And they all jumped in and said yes. And I know all of these people mean a lot to you, Patty.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you so much for that. And CADA is so proud to be in partnership with these organizations and sponsors and individuals in some cases who really shared their generosity of spirit and their desire and showing of care for the communities and the challenges we've all been facing. So thank you all very, very much.
And I have a very short list that I wanted to say. Our champion sponsor is the Calgary Foundation. We're so grateful for them. Thank you. Our arts patron sponsors are Aspen Properties, Brookfield Residential, Calgary Foundation, Calgary Municipal Land Corporation, Dialogue, Platform Calgary, and the University of Calgary. And of course, our awards video sponsor is Newer Films. And speaking of sponsors, Patty, you're going to come back a little bit in just a sec. But first, let's take a word from the Calgary Foundation.
Greetings to everyone from the Calgary Foundation. We are honored again to partner with Calgary Arts Development and support the Mayor's Lunch for Arts Champions. In this past year, communities experienced what time is like without the arts, life void of live theater, music, and festivals. The arts connect us to community, and they are core to our human spirit. Artists and art organizations have been amongst the most hardest hit through the pandemic and the COVID protocols. And we would like to congratulate and give gratitude to the artists and art organizations who rose to the challenge this past year and created and delivered programming with ingenuity, resourcefulness, and creativity. Today is the opportunity to recognize why fostering art achievement in Calgary is so vital to our city. At the Calgary Foundation, we have had the opportunity to partner with CADA this past year to support artists through the Rosa Foundation and as well grant numerous agencies and organizations through the Pandemic Relief Recovery Program. As we turn the corner on COVID, as individuals and as community, we can continue to support the recovery of the arts by renewing our season's tickets, participating in the innovative offerings, and re-embracing living a creative life. Thank you, and back to David.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and thank you very much, the Calgary Foundation. Now, normally at this time in the show, the mayor is just coming in from the kitchen because he's making the lunch for everybody, and he's with us here today. Welcome, Mayor Nenshi. Good of you to be here.
Well, thanks very much, Dave. Happy to be here with you. And I was just on a call with our friends from the Calgary Stampede, telling them that I have had no lunch delivery at my house, and the tuna sandwich that I just made for myself is not normally as good as what we get at the Mayor's Lunch for Arts Champions.
Not quite up to snuff, is it? We're going to be, you and I get to hang out this for the next while, but just quickly, can you talk, before we look at our first Cultural Legacy Award winners, talk a little bit about the arts in Calgary and how it's been from your perspective?
Well, you know, Dave, I got to tell you, I'm very sad today. I'm sad that I'm not hanging out with you in person. Okay, I'm not sad about that part, but all the rest of it. I am actually also sad about that part. But I love the spectacle of this lunch. I love what it means at the end of a traditional arts season for us to celebrate what we've had this season and get ready for even better things going forward. And you know, everyone who's watching knows I go to everything. Mm-hmm. And so I feel a little bit like I've had 15 months of missing a lot in my life. Mm-hmm. But of course, that stuff that I'm missing is really tiny compared to what arts organizations have been through. But I think one of the things that's really important is that we are in an unprecedented historical time, and it's always dangerous to make judgments about history while you're living it. Mm-hmm. But I think that it is true that the world is different now. And when the world is different, who do we need more than anyone? We need artists to tell our stories. We need artists to conceptualize where we are and what we're trying to do and the community we're trying to build together. And so when we think about the year that we've been through, when we think about the public health crisis, when we think about the mental health and addictions crisis that was always there but has been exacerbated, when we think about the economic crisis, when we think about the ongoing environmental crisis, with all these crises, you're starting to understand why I might be retiring. But when we think about the real reckoning that we're in the middle of right now on what it means to be a truly anti-racist society, mm-hmm. It's been a rough 18 months or so, or a rough few years even. And this last year has put this all into sharp focus. But at the same time, you know, one of the great things about COVID for me is that I've had the chance to spend a lot of time visiting classrooms because I can do it virtually on the screen now. And every time I talk to the students, whether kindergarten or grade 12 or anything in between, I always ask them, you know, what are the lessons that you've learned this year? What has COVID taught you? And I always get a variation on the same theme. I've learned not to take anything for granted. I've learned that things that I value and love and are important to me can go away quickly. But I've also learned to focus on what's important, to focus on family, on community, on my own role in making sure other people are healthy, in making sure that the community is growing. And the kids almost always come up with a word that I didn't know little kids knew. And eventually someone will say, I've learned to be more resilient. And to me, that really is the theme around what we've learned this year. And frankly, a lot of us grown-ups could learn to be more resilient and learn to focus on what really matters and on our responsibilities to one another. And so as Patty said, oh, by the way, I've also learned that I can just barely survive 14 months without actually seeing Patty Pond face to face. But I've gotten to the point where I can actually pinpoint every single change she makes to the background of her office there on Zoom. That is a very fancy new purple chair, Patty. I'm quite excited about it. But ultimately, as Patty said in her wisdom, which is always so great, artists are always at the forefront of adapting and of innovating. And the number of online theater shows I've seen and readings that have been amazing, the fact that every one of us has turned to film or music or theater as a way of coping through all of this, I hope will remind all of us of the importance of art. One thing that has not changed, Dave, you ask a short question, I give a very long answer.
Well, it's all right. It's okay. This is our last luncheon together, and you can do whatever you want.
I know. But, wait. What do you mean our last luncheon together?
Well, I mean,
I thought the whole point was that the new mayor
yes.
would hire me as the host,
I,
and you would be my sidekick.
I've always wanted to be a sidekick. This would be a fun experience for me, wouldn't it? Well, look at you and I get to hang out this whole time. So what I want to do is get to some of the awards, and then we're going to chat some more. So they're Cultural Leaders Legacy Awards that we all know that we do every year. And we've broken them up into two at a time. So we're going to take a look at the first two, and then we'll be chatting some more. So here are the first two Cultural Leaders Legacy Awards.
With a long-standing commitment to the arts in all of its forms, RBC is proud to support emerging artists and is dedicated to providing a platform for them to share their work and stories. The RBC Emerging Artist Award was established to recognize up-and-coming artists. The award recognizes that a thriving cultural community includes artists who choose to live and build their careers in Calgary. The intent of this award is to bring awareness to outstanding artists in the early phases of their careers. RBC is delighted to present this year's award to Tank Standing Buffalo. Tank is a self-taught animator whose latest project, Reckless, is a true depiction of his passion for art and how it saved his life. Tank's work and story are inspiring. He has a strong commitment to the local community and is dedicated to helping youth and artists from similar backgrounds succeed.
My name's Tank Standing Buffalo, and I'm an animator. A friend who's become my producer now, Christine Cook. She was really adamant that I make a personal story. I made this cartoon about my time as a young offender in segregation. Any prolonged segregation in a correctional facility is now deemed a crime against humanity by the UN. So I use art to understand the world, I guess. It makes more sense to me that way. I'd like to thank Quick Draw Animation Society, Christine Cook, my producer, my girlfriend, Kara Adudarko, who does all my music, and thank you guys for giving me this award.
The Rosé Foundation Emerging Arts Administrator Award is intended to honor an early career arts administrator who is doing really noteworthy work, both within the organizations that they're working for, but also in the broader community. The nomination package for Bianca spoke volumes. There was such incredible support from so many different people, from so many different organizations, all speaking to the way that Bianca brings together her social activism and social justice work. And it's really exciting to see using the tools of the trade in new and exciting ways to amplify messages that are important, to really ensure the equity and anti-racism work that's happening within a multitude of organizations. Bianca is an administrator for our time.
Hi, my name is Bianca Miranda, and I'm a performer, creator, arts administrator, and the artistic associate at Handsome Malice Theatre. I've worked for a number of companies in a lot of areas, including marketing, producing, mentorship, box office. Presently at Handsome Malice, we're reevaluating our company's core values and how to better support artists and the communities we serve with an anti-oppressive lens. Thank you to Meg Farhall, Pam Zhang, Zach Scalzo, Jenna Rogers, and Jenna Klein-Walker for your leadership, mentorship, and support, to the Rosé Foundation and the Calgary Arts Development for this award and recognition.
Wow. Congratulations, Bianca, and congratulations, Tank. It's always nice to see people get recognition, isn't it, Mayor?
Also, can we just say that saying Tank and Bianca is kind of fun?
Yes.
Yeah. And what great people to get recognition. You know, back in the day, long before I was mayor, I helped a friend start one of the precursor organizations that was looking at women's theater. That was one of the precursors to Handsome Malice. And it's so great to see the work they're doing. And, you know, on a week like this, without getting too maudlin about all of it, last year, exactly a year ago, we were confronted with what it means to be anti-racist in our community. Mm-hmm. And certainly this week, we've also been confronted with that again, exactly a year later. And Tank's work, you know, it's animation, it's music, but it's deep. And this kind of work, I think, is critical for us as we're thinking about what we do in our community. You know, it reminds us that arts are not a frill. Mm-hmm. They're not just for fun, but they actually can really make us move forward in very significant ways.
And if we hadn't, if
Oh,
this
by the way,
weren't
they're also fun.
and we get to say tank a couple more times, and who doesn't want that? We're going to be showing throughout the show work that was created during the pandemic for people in the pandemic. So that's happening throughout. If you want more information, yycwhatson.ca, you can find all of that. You spoke about culture and race. The Chinese Calgary Chinese Orchestra is who we get to look at next. How about that? So let me tell you a bit about them, and then you can watch with me. So they wanted to do a production, and they thought, let's bring musicians together to play horse race. Now, horse race is normally played on the Eru, which I don't know how to play. Maybe you do, the mayor. I don't know how to play that.
I'm an Eru master.
Yeah, I thought you might be. So this is what they did. They got 72 musicians from Vancouver, Toronto, Singapore, the United States, China, and Calgary, and they all got together virtually and created Off to the Races. Have a look.
CCO has been around for over 20 years and is always dynamic force in the community. CCO, our goal is to promoting Chinese music and the Chinese instruments. So the project started when we were thinking of the Chinese New Year for 2021. In the past few years, CCO has always been doing some sort of celebration. We have our concerts, we go into the communities to play for people. We still wanted to do something with the current restriction. Maybe we'll create a project to engage our community, and we can present something online. We wanted this project to make people are more interested in Chinese culture and history, the beautiful instruments and the music. And I'm also hoping to see more people joining us, the Calgary Chinese Orchestra.
It is the Calgary Chinese Orchestra. What a project, getting all those musicians together, literally from around the world. And if you look carefully, I think you see the mayor playing his own homemade uru in there. Nice work, Mayor.
That was unbelievable. Congratulations to the Calgary Chinese Orchestra. You know, I did a little video intro for the concert, and I have to admit to you, I did not know what a big deal the Calgary Chinese Orchestra was. You know, after all this time in this job, I thought I knew everybody. But that was amazing. I think I counted 12 eru there from all over the world, and man, that was very cool.
So good. I want to talk to you a bit about Inniskim. I don't know how much you know. Do you want me to talk it?
Because Dave, you know everything.
I know.
So,
this is right. Well, the National Arts Centre had this project. They call it Grand Acts of Theatre, where they commissioned 14 of Canada's innovative companies. Say, what can you do that's outdoors? So we want a big show. We want it to be outdoors. So Inniskim was the Canadian Academy of Mask and Puppetry, based right here. And they worked with Treaty 7 people and went out to Treaty 7 land and created this piece called Inniskim, which is a recognition and celebration of the return of the Plains buffalo to Banff National Park. It's gorgeous. Have a look.
In Blackfoot, Nabi is our trickster, but the word Abi describes a wonderful light of energy that goes through the land and makes stories as we go along. So this evening, you're going to see the story of how Nabi puts himself back together in order to bring the buffalo back.
The thing that's beautiful about this project is nobody said, I have this idea. It has arrived to everyone who is participating, and it is a gift then to everyone. Maybe there's an energy, some might call it a spirit, that is asking us to do this because it needs to be done. And that's what is most exciting.
Okay. 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 The buffalo roamed this land. This was their home. Remembering the active lands constantly moving, constantly changing, the Serengeti of the prairies, if you will. The land depended on them. The people depended on them. The Indian agent sent word back to Ottawa. Kill the Indian or make them like us, take away their source of life. Poor, poor animals. Poor, poor land. We, people of many nations, together we can dance the buffalo back to the land.
Come on. Come on. That was unbelievable.
Isn't it gorgeous?
I wish I had seen that live.
Oh,
wow.
It's so big and beautiful. So congratulations.
Thanks, National Arts Centre. That's amazing. Dave, I need to tell you one thing.
Tell me.
So I'm going to tell you a secret. It's just you and me here, right?
Okay, yes.
And Patty Pond's not going to tell anybody.
No, she won't.
Last week I had the chance to visit the Calgary Film Center, where they are filming a little show for Apple TV called Fraggle Rock.
Heard of it.
I probably wasn't supposed to tell anybody that, but one of the reasons that I am so excited about Fraggle is the fact that Calgary has always been a world center for puppetry. We already heard Christine Cook's name once today.
Yeah.
And certainly the Calgary International Festival of Animated Objects, which happens in Calgary, is like where people come together for puppetry. And to see that large scale stuff with an Indigenous flair, wow.
So good. So good. Kate, in 30 seconds, I got to tell you, Christine Cook was on breakfast television once with her band, and we were going over the thing, and she was talking to the camera people, and she said, there's an axe solo, which is what some people call guitars, right? She goes, yeah, I'll sing, and then there's an axe solo. So the band starts, I introduce them, and then she actually took out an axe and chopped wood in the middle of the song. I love that woman. That's Christine. Cinegeeks. I want to tell you a bit about Cinegeeks, Mr. Mayor, if I could. So, Cinegeeks, you know about it. Not just geeks.
Calgary Arts Development.
Calgary Arts Development hosted this. They take Indigenous elders, community leaders, and artists and bring them together to create art as a way of working into reconciliation. Well, like everyone, Cinegeeks had to go online this year, like a lot of people did. And we're going to show you one of the pieces that was created. This is called Goose Takes the Bad Away by visual artist Autumn Whiteway.
Bonjour, Tansi, Oki. Hello, my name is Autumn Whiteway, and my spiritual name is Night Singing Woman, a name gifted to me by Elder Clarence Wolfleg. I'm an archaeologist by trade, and I also do Indigenous arts and crafts. According to some Indigenous traditions, March 2021 fell upon the Goose Moon, and according to the lunar calendar that is often used by Indigenous people, the Goose Moon marked 13 moons since the COVID-19 pandemic started to affect our ability to meet together. Perhaps Creator sent COVID-19 to provide lessons to humankind. Due to the pandemic, we've had to adjust the way we do things and learn as we go. Zoom has become the new norm, and it was during a Zoom meeting with Elder Randy Bottle, also known as Sokokoto, that I found inspiration for my artwork, Goose Takes the Bad Away. Sokokoto has taught me to look at Mother Earth, or Na'a, as a great teacher and artist. Sokokoto, presumably inspired by the sound of honking geese above, relayed a story about his mother and grandmother. He stated that whenever they would hear geese flying by, they would quickly exit their home and pray to the geese to take the lice away. What they actually meant, however, was that they wanted the geese to take with them all the bad things. Over the coming days, I couldn't stop thinking about the story shared by Sokokoto, particularly as I walked through a nearby park, which is often a refuge for many honking geese. I thought about all the people that had been affected by COVID-19. It was then that I envisioned a piece of digital art featuring a young Indigenous woman in a mask and ribbon skirt, praying to the geese to take the bad away as they flew in a V formation. On her belt is the thunderbird, also known as Benesi, which is opposed by the great horned serpent to represent a return to equilibrium. The young woman is sending 13 COVID molecules up to the geese with her prayers. Each of these COVID molecules represents one moon of the lunar calendar. 13 moons, or one full year since we last met together. The geese are filled with various symbols, which represent the sun, stars, lodges, and X-ray decoration. 4s and 7s figure prominently in my artwork. 4s representing the directions of the medicine wheel, and 7s representing the 7 generations. 7 generations of ancestors, and 7 generations to come. These can often be found in the arrangements of dots and other items. All in all, Goose Takes the Bad Away represents hope. It represents what we have learned over the past year, over the past 13 moons, which brought us back to the Goose Moon once again. We will soon be able to meet in person again and leave this pandemic behind us, but our lives have changed forever, and hopefully we have learned some good lessons. Miigwech. Hi hi. Thank you. All my relations.
Congratulations, Autumn. That's beautiful. Goose takes the bad away. We have another cultural leader, Leader's Legacy Award. We're going to give away 2 now. And before we do it, Patty Pond wanted to mention this is the biggest cash prize of its kind in the country right here. Let's have a look at the next 2 winners.
ATB has always worked toward helping Albertans and looking at ways we can tackle the many challenges our communities face. And here at ATB, we're very focused on the greater good with initiatives such as the ATB Healing Through the Arts Award. The ATB Healing Through the Arts Award is a recognition for an individual who's made an impact on the wellness of their community through their practice as an artist, whether that is through physical, mental, emotional, social, or spiritual health. And I'm so pleased to recognize Heather with this award. Heather's been on a personal journey where she's taken her own experiences and challenges in life and shared her learnings through art. Congratulations, Heather.
Tansei. My name's Heather Morjo. My spirit name in Blackfoot is Natoi Atista Aki, which stands for Holy Rabbit Woman. I am mixed Métis, a two-spirit artist living with a mental health disability and in recovery from addiction for the last 9 years. My art process includes using natural materials and mixing them with contemporary materials such as resin and cement. I create wall sculptures as well as living sculptures in the community, such as the Sacred Medicine Garden featured at Calgary John Howard Society. In my process, I focus on traditional teachings, traditional medicines, and prayer to express my journey through recovery from addiction, mental health, and colonization. I would like to thank the original caretakers of these lands, today known as the Treaty 7 Blackfoot Confederacy. I would like to thank ATB for this award and Mayor Naheed Nenshi for creating this space for artists, as well as my partner, David Laurie.
The Calgary Catholic Immigration Society has been around for the past 40 years, and our mission is to help newcomers to Canada resettle and integrate into our society. CCI has created this award to ensure that we give our newcomers the opportunity to explore their artistic background. So Perpetual was given this award because she was well-deserved in terms of her expertise and her talent that she's been able to share with Canada.
I am a recording and performing saxophonist, songwriter, aspiring producer, and arts manager. Being female on the saxophone has brought lots of attention to me as an artist, but most of all has given me an opportunity to be of relevant impact to younger generation and to people around me. The CCIS New Canadian Artist Award means a lot to me. I'm grateful, I'm thankful for that. It's not every day we get all the recognition, because encouragement is something that's so important to us as artists. I'd like to thank Mr. Olotu, who put me up for nomination of this award. And I'd also like to thank CCIS for this initiative, for doing this over the years. I acknowledge my family for supporting me over the years. And finally, the City of Calgary. I'm grateful for this city that has given me home and welcomed me so openly.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? And there's
can we also point out that Heather and Perpetual also fun to say, but you know, one of the things that I love about this award, these 2 awards in particular, but about all the Cultural Legacy Awards, is that they often introduce us to artists that we don't already know. And, I've really enjoyed particularly these two awards, the Healing Through the Arts Award and the New Canadian Artist Award, because they really exposed me to a lot of people who are doing amazing things and continue to do amazing things. And like I say, I wish I were there in person, because we always take photos with the award winners afterwards, and each photo takes like 10 minutes because I want to know everything about their life. Wow, those were great winners.
So good. Tell me a bit about Jonathan and the Jube School.
Well, I have 3 nemesis in my life, 3 mortal enemies. Patty Pond, Dave Kelly, and Jonathan Love. And today we managed to combine all 3 of them in one place. Because have you seen Jonathan Love? That face is so adorable. You just want to punch it. I don't think I've ever punched Patty or Dave in the face, however.
No, you've taken a swing
Love,
at me.
Yeah, you're pretty quick. You're pretty fast. So Jonathan was kind of new in his role at the Jubilee Auditorium when all of this hit. And one of the programs they have is a program through something called Campus Calgary. We also have City Hall School, where kids will spend a week in a particular place. And in this case, it was Jube School. And it was really cool how the Jubilee Auditorium managed to transition Jube School, but also make these kinds of artistic experiences available to more people. Maybe I'll shut up and let them tell their own story.
It's so good. Let's have a look at what they did.
For the postcards. It means a lot. Stay safe. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks for everything you did. Thank you for the cards.
Thanks for the postcards. Thanks so much for the postcard, you guys.
Thanks so much for the postcards, guys.
These are awesome. Thank you.
Hey kids, we want to thank you for the postcards acknowledging our hard work during the pandemic, and we want to acknowledge you for great hand washing and being safe at home and at school. Good job.
Expressing gratitude helps our mental health as we cope with COVID-19.
Oh, that one makes me cry. And I should say, and it gives me a very quick excuse to say thank you to my colleagues in the City of Calgary for all they've been doing, as well as a special thank you to Calgary Emergency Management, who were collaborators in that piece.
So good. And to Jonathan and his hair. And to all, actually, I joke, but the truth is there's so many great artists and educators out there who this year have taken the arts to different places and different levels to keep kids engaged, to help them with their mental health, and to help them tell stories. Now, we're going to have 2 more Cultural Leaders Legacy Awards. Here they are.
We have artists and we have the public. The intermediary are the arts organizations that bring art to the public. What these intermediary organizations require is good leadership. These individuals are truly the unsung heroes of our arts community. The award winner, Arif Ansari, truly personifies the reasons that this award exists. He's created a cash reserve policy that allows Sled Island to continue to have funding into the future. He's spearheaded the Safer Spaces Initiative, Arif's leadership, has made Sled Island a more resilient organization.
I've been serving on the board of directors since 2016 and was elected to president in 2017. I attended Sled Island in year one and really fell in love with the festival. I've been an avid fan of music in Calgary, having cut my volunteering teeth in arts at the mighty CJSW at the University of Calgary. Being part of the board for Sled Island is just a great way for me to help support that music scene, to keep it vibrant, to keep it active. I really believe that Sled Island is the hub for our Calgary's music scene and a really tremendous part of what makes our city vibrant and livable. I'd like to thank Maud Salvi, our executive director, whose amazing vision and passion has driven the organization. Chad Saunders, who is president ahead of me, for his work on the board, and all the past and current board members and staff of Sled Island.
The Sandstone City Builder Award was established to recognize artists or organizations that make Calgary a better place to live through the arts. Lisa has collaborated with the Calgary Public Library to bring the 1-3 5-minute short story dispensers and took the initiative to upload over 100 stories by local authors. Loft 112, a centrally located hub, provides a creative space for artists to rent, practice, create, and grow. Lisa is also a writer and an editor and has been able to advance her own personal growth through the work she's done at Loft 112. Congratulations, Lisa. Thank you for making Calgary a better place to live.
Loft 112 is an accessible and affordable literary creative space in Calgary's East Village, intended for writers, artists, and creative entrepreneurs to create, celebrate, and collaborate. Before March of 2020, we hosted between 30 and 50 events a month, including our own projects such as New Forum Magazine, the People's Poetry Festival, Box Stories Gallery, and the province-wide Exquisite Corpse Game. I'd like to thank Mayor Nenshi and Calgary Arts Development for championing the arts in the city, Sandstone Asset Management for supporting this award, those who nominated me, Sharon Stevens, Aretha Van Herk, Rosemary Griebel, Judy McLaughlin, Marie Bryce, and Richard Harrison. Loft 112 couldn't remain open without Stacey Wallachow, my neighbors in the Orange Lofts in the East Village, and thank you to everyone who's been part of an event over the last 8 years.
Congratulations, Arif and Loft 112. It's so good that these people are working so hard to make our city this beautiful, vibrant arts city. And speaking of, a lot of artists said, all right, we can't use a regular theater, so we're going to do outdoor stages. We're going to do parks. We're going to do drive-ins. We're going to try everything. And so many arts groups did that. So I want to talk about Wezo Africa Music and Dance Theater. The Wezo Africa Cultural Festival in September had to go online, and this is just a taste of what they came up with.
La Paz Toyota. La Paz Toyota. You don't want to hear me, baby. You don't want to see me. I take cars by the one by child. Even that, baby. Wow, in case anything you can do, I won't pay. Freeway, can you do your BRTs? If I say make your mouth, come out to one day. Me a big boy, be a my bitch in a crown. Me penny in Quadano. Me a me person in TikTok, go join our proof. La Paz Toyota. Hey, ma, hey. fast Toyota.
Congratulations, Wezo. It's beautiful. Wezo, Africa, Music and Dance Theater. We have our final two leader awards, and we want to give those out now. And then the mayor and I will be back to chat more about it. Here they are.
I'm situated on Treaty 6, which encompasses the traditional territories of many First Nations, including Cree, Dene, Stoney Nakoda Sioux, Saulteaux, and Ojibwe, and home to Métis Nation of Alberta Zone 4. TD is very proud to sponsor the Indigenous Artist Award and to recognize the very first winner, Alberta Rose. This award was created to recognize the contributions of Indigenous artists, craftspeoples, and knowledge keepers to Calgary. Alberta Rose is a very gifted artist, and her art is very moving and relevant as we struggle through the pandemic. Her project of commemorating and celebrating those that we've lost to COVID-19 will provide comfort for families. Congratulations on your award, Alberta Rose.
The library seeks emergent or mid-career self-identified First Nation, Inuit, and Métis artists, and artist teams working in any artistic discipline and who enjoy working with people. The artist should have a connection to Treaty 7 and the Calgary area. We seek artists to bring knowledge and understanding of the significant cultural heritage and the legacy of Indigenous people. We invite artists to bring their Indigenous identities, history, culture, languages, and ways of knowing to the public through the library.
Kawarutit, Atira Ingnik. My English name is Alberta Rose Williams. Ingnik is my Innu Valley Wheat name. My practice is more interdisciplinary. I really like to build off of the idea as the foundation for what I'm going to make. I do like to use repurposed or upcycled materials and work within the realm of social issues, whether that be personal experiences or broader social issues that face everyone today. I would like to thank CADA, TD Bank, the Calgary Public Library, and all of the people who've reached out to me for this project and shared so much of their personal stories of loss to contribute to the project that I'm working on at the library right now. It's been really incredible for me to have these conversations and hear about people who would otherwise be nameless and faceless in this pandemic.
As co-chairs of Calgary as the cultural capital of Canada in 2012, we realized then and have continued for 10 years to believe in the incredible artists that continue to making Calgary such a rich and vibrant city.
The purpose of the award is to celebrate the amazing artists of Calgary, who we are so grateful that they chose to make Calgary their home.
For over 30 years, Cheryl Fogo has dedicated her career as an award-winning author, documentary film director, screenwriter, and playwright to sharing important Black perspectives and stories from the prairies.
Her recent film, John Ware Reclaimed, the documentary she created in partnership with the National Film Board of Canada, really brought the history to life. It told the story of John Ware from a new perspective, and Doug and I loved watching it. I couldn't be more proud of the work that Cheryl is doing. Congratulations, Cheryl.
My name is Cheryl Fogo. I am an author, playwright, filmmaker, and historian. And I write stories and make films and write plays about Calgary, Southern Alberta, and Western Canada's Black history to share with the rest of the country and the rest of the world. There is no greater honor that I could receive than being recognized in my home city. I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart their honors, Doug and Lois Mitchell, for establishing this award. And I would like to thank my beautiful family, as always, Clem, Chandra, and Miranda. I would also like to thank the people of Calgary for being the inspiration for all my stories for all these years. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Alberta Rose and Cheryl. Isn't that great, Mr. Mayor?
Let's just say Alberta Rose and Cheryl. Also fun to say. All right. So, yes, so great. I love the diversity of the award winners this year. I should point out, if I forget to later, that Arif Ansari and I have known each other since we were 10 years old on the school bus. And I'm so excited to see his incredible behind-the-scenes work in the music community highlighted. And I will tell you, Cheryl's film, just see it. I don't even know where to see it. We'll figure out where to see it. Just see it. It was the highlight of the Calgary International Film Festival. It'll make you think about this place in our history in a brand new way.
It's so good. Hey, we got to be part of something kind of fun in September or December, I should say, where we sort of brought the city together in a neighborhood and said, let's just talk about how we're all doing. And one of the pieces that was created for that was recognizing and a tribute to the 860 who at that point had died from COVID. We had so many people, Mr. Mayor. Mandy Stobo did the art. I'm just going to name drop and watch this. So Mandy Stobo, as you know, did the art. John Morgan is the artistic director of Rare 52 and Mount Royal Cantori. He was the accompanist in this. He also works with the incredible young Canadians of the Calgary Stampede, who, by the way, are learning all of their stuff on Zoom right now. Lizzie Munson plays the cello in here. She's a Calgarian who won the Stampede Talent Search in 2016 and then went on and she was in residence with Cirque du Soleil in Vegas. And obviously when that shut down, she had to come back. And then the great Yukichi from Alberta Ballet. Isn't Yukichi something, Mr. Mayor?
This whole thing is something. We've had a lot of fun today. This thing, it still makes me cry. And you were so kind, Dave, in allowing me after that wonderful Christmas concert that we did on Zoom, in allowing me to share this piece widely and call it Calgary's Gift to the World in a very difficult year. I mean, just watch it. It's unbelievable.
It's so good. We should thank Dave Pierce. We got to use his River Station studios to shoot this and he produced it for us. Have a look. So good, eh? Isn't it something? Yukichi, when I talked to him about doing this, I explained what it was for, and that's what he came up with. Him and Lizzie and John and Dave Pierce. It was crazy how good it was.
You know, it's important for us, especially while we're looking forward to the, thank God, end of this pandemic and a move to, I hope, a better community, not a return to what it was like before. It's important for us to honor that sense of loss, to honor what people have been through, to honor our frontline and our essential workers who've been through so much, our teachers who've been through so much, and so many others. I never get political, right? That's just not me. But I will say that there's been some talk from someone who shall remain nameless about how this is going to be the best summer ever. And you know what? It's going to be a good summer, but it'll be a reflective summer. It'll be a chance for us to think about how we turn the page and how we move forward. But we have to do that in a way that is respectful and understanding that so many of us have lost so much. And at the very beginning of the show, I said, we need artists now to tell us our own stories. And you know what? That's exactly what we just saw there. So beautiful.
So great.
So Dave, can I talk about this last one?
It's your baby. Tell us about it.
It's not my baby, but I am excited about it, which is, a few years ago, smarter people than me started really talking about what we can do to bring together a bunch of amazing stuff that goes on in the winter in Calgary. For example, we have One Yellow Rabbit's High Performance Rodeo, which is the best festival of independent theater in the world. And, people don't know as much about it as I would like them to. It should be the Sundance Festival of Theater. And people from around the world should be coming to Calgary every January for that. We have the Glow Festival. We have a number of other Block Heater with the Calgary Folk Music Festival. A number of other arts things that go on. We have something like a dozen world championships in winter sport. And all of this happens in the winter. So an idea that smarter people than me had was we should be able to create a huge tourism draw in the winter and a huge thing for Calgarians to celebrate in the winter. I wanted to call it the Snowdio, but as always, my brilliant ideas get rejected when nobody likes them except for me, which happens all the time.
Right.
And instead what we got was the remarkable Chinook Blast. And despite all of the COVID restrictions that were literally changing day by day as Chinook Blast was going forward, we said we're not going to cancel it. Calgarians need some hope and some excitement right now, and let's do it anyway. And with remarkable sponsors, with remarkable people across the community and 120 local artists, we managed to celebrate a completely COVID-safe, completely outdoors event. And there's something else special I want to say about Chinook Blast, but maybe I'll do it after the video.
Okay.
When I went on a couple of very cold nights to Chinook Blast,
yes,
it was the first time I felt like I had been with other people in a whole year. And people had big wide eyes and were so excited to be out in community again, which was amazing. But I want to tell you another thing about Chinook Blast.
Sure.
The Mayor's Lunch for Arts Champions isn't just for us who love the arts to congratulate ourselves. It's about widening the circle. And, I say every year at the mayor's lunch that your job next year is to bring someone new to the lunch, but also this year to take someone to an arts experience who's never been before and make the circle of patrons, the circle of donors, and the circle of people who get excited about the arts wider. But I need to tell you something. I have a remarkable person that works with me who runs my life. Her name is Franca Galtieri. And Franca didn't know much about the arts when she started. And at the first Mayor's Luncheon for Arts Champions, she heard the stories of how she could get involved. And she decided to get a little more involved. In addition to helping organize this event every year, she started to get more engaged broadly in the arts community. She started to bring her family and her friends who were not big arts patrons into the arts community. She took on more of the arts and culture work in my own office. And then she joined the board of One Yellow Rabbit.
Yay!
And then she became the chair of Chinook Last. And the fact that the Mayor's Lunch for Arts Champions was the genesis of this extraordinary person giving her extraordinary abilities to the arts and pulling off that remarkable festival. It's why we do what we do. So I'm deeply grateful for Franca every single day of my life, but I'm also deeply grateful that the arts get to benefit from her because of the work that we do to widen the circle.
And I should say I'm deeply grateful that we get to say Franca, because that's just a fun thing to say, isn't it? Patty Pond, it's nice to have...
Almost as fun as Alberta Rose and Cheryl.
I think Franca's got to get together with Tank so we can say, here's Frank and Tank. I think that would be kind of fun. Patty Pond, welcome back. I wanted to, as we wrap up, I wanted to give you a chance and both you and the mayor to give us a bit of a look ahead. So give us your sense, Patty. How are things looking to the future?
Dave, as you can see from the videos, like I regardless of COVID-19 or not, I was inspired by artists and their storytelling and their meaning making all through this last 18 months and then some. And I can't wait to see what happens when the time comes for us to gather in a safe way. And as the mayor said, this summer with Rise Up, and the Safe Sites events. And for those of you who are artists or venue owners, be sure to go and check riseupyyc.com to be a part of bringing some amazing arts experiences to Calgarians in the safest possible way. And that's the only way I know artists to be, is to create those amazing experiences. And I'm really excited and looking forward to what artists will come up with next.
It's going to be tremendous, won't it? Mr. Mayor, I'm going to give you the last word. So I'm going to take the second last word, if that's all right with you. So you and I have got to do this luncheon, I think most of them, if not all of them. I've got to hang out with Patty. I've known Patty, I think, since shortly after they invented the wheel. I'm not positive, but I think the wheel came out and then Patty and I got together. So I've known both of you for a while. But the first time I met you, Mr. Mayor, was at ATP, and I was the Cat in the Hat. And it was just fun. I got to do this fun show where I was the Cat in the Hat at Seussical the Musical. But what not a lot of people knew about that time was our first son, our first being John, Blythe, he was due on closing night of Seussical. So we had to have Chris Hunt come and learn all my lines in case I had to leave early. And that was the end of the first year that I wasn't on TV. So I didn't have any jobs that year, except for I did a show at Lunchbox and I did this. And those two shows, for a guy who is a new artist, who I was a little scared of, what's this future? What am I going to do with my life? Where are things going to go? And who showed up at those shows? The mayor. And I'm aware, as all artists, and I'm speaking as an artist now, as a person who puts on shows, that when I'm parenting, people say, just show up, and it'll mean everything. When I'm trying to get along in any relationship, they say, show up. And I can say that every show that I have done and every show that other friends of mine have done, they all say, guess who showed up? The mayor. The mayor showed up, and he didn't come with an entourage, and he didn't come with a handler, and he came because he likes theater. And for us, as on behalf of artists, I want to say on our luncheon today, the last one I get to hang out this way. We're going to have lots more hangouts, but the last time we get to hang out this way, to say on behalf of the artists, thanks for showing up, because it meant the world to all of us that you were there along with everyone else who was there. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
And Mr.
Well, you know,
sorry.
Go ahead, Patty.
I'm going off script, and this is why I am one of the mayor's nemesis, or nemesis.
Nemesiddles, the nemesiddle.
And I have hair. But anyway, to add to Dave's point, I think, and I purposely didn't think about what I was going to say because I really wanted it to come from the heart. You have been an incredible gift to this community. I should have thought about what I was going to say. I knew it would be really great to have you in the mayor's office this last 11 years, and you proved it 100 times over. So thank you. And I'm really proud to have served alongside you and with your office. And I can't wait to see what your adventures will be after October, because I know you're going to bring the arts along with you. And that is an incredible thing. So thank you very much.
Well, you know, thank you both. You have succeeded in your goal to try and choke me up, but not in your goal to make me speechless before we finish this today. Thank you both for all that you've done as the quintessential arts champions. And, you know, I do want to speak a little bit personally for a moment. This will be my last chance to be with all of you at this event. I hope to see you at lots of other events. For those arts organizers, I'll just point out, keep me on the comps list if you don't mind. I'll still show up at things. Otherwise, I'll just have to be Patty Plans +1 at everything, and that won't be good for any of us. But I do want to say that, you know, I come from a background in the arts. I often remind people that I was a failed actor who figured out on stage that he was really bad at this and needed to stop, but perhaps could use his skills in other ways to support the arts. So Patty and I were together on the board of what is now Arts Commons. For many years, I was the chair of the board there. My master's thesis was about that place. And I've been trying to be supportive. And when I was first elected to this role, you know, I really wanted to make sure that we were highlighting the incredible work that happens in the arts, not just as an economic driver, not just as a social driver, but really as a way of people to live. So Patty's strategy at Calgary Arts Development is not called Calgary's Arts Development Strategy. It's called Living a Creative Life. And it really is about how all of us bring creativity into the world around us. And I'm just so proud of what happens. You know, as you all know, I go to everything, but I'm really a theater guy at heart. And I think that it really is safe to say that the work that we put on our stages or virtually on Zoom ranks with the very best work in the world. We are doing incredible things in film, in music, in building Calgary's reputation as a music center, in visual art. So many amazing things are happening, and it's critical that we build and we support that work. You know, and I'm proud of the political stuff. I'm proud of the fact that we doubled funding to the arts in Calgary in a difficult economic time, and that has been sustained and has continued. I'm even proud of the work we've done in public art. There are two pieces I really don't like, but that's okay. That's the work that we do. But it's because of all of you. You know, I just get to be the voice. But what I actually get to do is I get to live in a community where people are doing extraordinary things every single day in the arts, in community service, in just building up a better place. And so I want to say thank you to all of you for being arts champions. Thank you for being patrons. Thank you for being donors. Thank you for being volunteers. Thank you for being extraordinary artists. All of this stuff matters. And as we move forward into a new world, not just a new mayor and council, but a new kind of post-pandemic community, I know we're going to build back stronger. I know we're going to build a more equitable place. I know we're going to build a place where everyone can deserve to live a life of dignity and a life of opportunity. And, you know, when I first started here in this role, I used to say, and I still say, that the promise of this community is very simple. In a place where who you are or where you come from or how you worship or whom you love should never limit you. That every single one of us deserve a chance right here, right now, to live a great Canadian life. And as we move forward, the journey is uncertain. We don't know what anti-racism really looks like. We don't know what true reconciliation looks like. We don't know what shared economic prosperity and a sustainable environment look like. But we know that we got the people here to make that happen. And we know the arts, as always, will guide the way. So I'm deeply grateful. I'm deeply grateful to have had the chance for these 11 years to serve as best I could. And I'm deeply grateful that I get to live in a community with all of you in it. So with that, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. So let's say thank you to everybody, to our sponsors, to the award winners. Congratulations, you're amazing. Thank you all for joining us for this year's edition and my last edition of the Mayor's Lunch for Arts Champions. Have a great day, everyone.